Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to understand synchronous counter and the basic design procedure of synchronous counter. In the previous video, we discussed the limitations of ripple counter. In ripple counter, the output of one flip-flop is connected to the clock input of the next flip-flop. Because of this, the propagation delay of each flip-flop gets accumulated. As the number of flip-flops increases, the delay also increases. Because of this, problems like decoding error and skipping of counts may happen. Due to these limitations, asynchronous or ripple counters are not preferred for high-speed applications. This problem can be solved using synchronous counters. In synchronous counter, all the flip-flops receive the clock signal at the same time. Because of this, the delay problem is greatly reduced and the counter works much faster. Sometimes the output of one stage is directly connected to the next stage, and sometimes logic gates are used between the stages. Now let us understand the basic design procedure of synchronous counter. Suppose we want to design a 3-bit synchronous up counter. The first step is to find the required number of flip-flops. Since it is a 3-bit counter, we need 3 flip-flops. So the state diagram will show the sequence in which the output state of the counter will change, and it shows that if the counter is in specific state, then what will be the next state of the counter. So in this case, since it is a 3-bit up counter, so the output of the counter will change from 000 to 111, where this number represents the output state of the each flip-flop. So in this 3-bit up counter, we will have total 8 different states. And as you can see in the state diagram, the output of the counter will change in this sequence. So after the second step, the third step is to select the type of the flip-flop. That means using which type of flip-flop we are going to design this counter. And once we decide the type of the flip-flop for the counter, then accordingly we need to draw the excitation table of the counter. So in this case, let's say we are going to design this counter with the help of the JK flip-flop. That means all the 3 flip-flops in the counter will be the JK flip-flop. So before we draw the excitation table of the counter, first we should be aware about the excitation table of the JK flip-flop. So as you can see, this excitation table shows the present state and the next state of the flip-flop, and it also shows the required inputs for the flip-flop to go from the present state to the next state. Alright, so now once we have selected the type of the flip-flop, so now let us draw the excitation table of the counter. So as you can see in this excitation table of the counter, the one column shows the possible output states of the counter. So here for the 3-bit up counter, the output count can go from the 000 to 111. Then this next column shows the next state of the counter. That means if the counter is in specific state, then what will be the next state of the counter? For example, if the present state of the counter is 001, then at the clock edge, the next state of the counter will be equal to 010. Similarly, if the present state of the counter is 101, then at the next clock edge, the state of the counter will become 110. So this column shows the next state of the counter corresponding to the present state. That means these two columns shows the present state and the next state of the counter. So now to move the counter from the present state to the next state, we need to find the required excitations for each flip-flop. And to find that, we will take the help of the excitation table of the JK flip-flop. So here, first let us consider this column Q2. So here, this first column in the yellow color shows the present state of the Q2 output, and this Q2 plus is the next state of the Q2 output. So to get all these output transitions, let us find the required value of the J2 and K2, and here we will take the help of the excitation table of the JK flip-flop. So similarly, to find the required excitations of the J1 and K1 and J2 and K2, if required, you can pause the video and you can verify the required J and K inputs for the all transitions. So in this way, we got the required values of the J and K inputs for all flip-flops. So now the next step is to find the minimal expression of the flip-flop inputs in terms of the outputs Q2, Q1 and Q0. Because as we have seen, the output of the flip-flops are connected to the inputs of the flip-flop through the combinational circuit. That means we need to find the expressions of the flip-flop inputs in terms of these outputs Q2, Q1 and Q0. And we can find the minimal expression with the help of the K-map. So here, first of all, let us find the minimal expression of the J2 and K2 in terms of the Q2, Q1 and Q0. So as you can see over here, this input J2 is equal to 1 only for the one input combination, while the 4 input combinations are the don't care terms. So first of all, let us try to map all these minterms in the K map, and let us try to find the simplified expression of the J2. So as you can see over here, we can combine this minterm M3 with the don't care term. So this group corresponds to Q1, Q0. So we can say that here this J2 is equal to Q1, Q0. So similarly, let us try to find the simplified expression of the K2. So here this K2 is equal to 1 only for the one input combination that is equal to 111, while the 4 input combinations are the don't care terms. So once again, let us map all these minterms in the K map and let us try to find the simplified expression. So once again over here, we can combine this minterm M7 with the don't care. So once again, this group corresponds to Q1, Q0. That means here the minimal expression of the K2 is also equal to Q1, Q0. That means here both J2 and K2 is equal to Q1, Q0. So similarly, now let us find the minimal expression for the J1 and K1. So if you see the column of the J1, then this J1 is equal to 1 for the two different input combinations, that is 001 and the 101, while the 4 input combinations are the don't care terms. So first let us try to map all these minterms in the K map, and from the K map let us try to find the simplified expression of the J1. So here as you can see, with the help of the two don't care terms, we can make the group of 4, and by making this group, we are able to cover all the ones in the K map. So here this group corresponds to Q0. So we can say that the minimal expression of the J1 is equal to Q0. So similarly, let us try to find the simplified expression of the K1. So if you see the column of the K1, then once again this K1 is equal to 1 for the two different input combinations, that is 0, 1, 1 and the 111, while the 4 input combinations are the don't care terms. So once again, let us map all these minterms in the K map. So if you see this K map, and once again, by using these two don't care terms, we can make the group of 4. So once again, this group corresponds to Q0. So we can say that the expression of the K1 is equal to Q0. That means J1 is equal to K1 is equal to Q0. So similarly, now let us find the minimal expression for the J0 and K0. So if you see over here that in both J0 and K0 column, for the 4 different input combinations, the output is equal to 1, while the remaining 4 input combinations are the don't care terms. So as you know, while finding the minimal expression in the K map, we can consider any don't care term as either logic 0 or the logic 1. So here, if we consider all these don't care terms as the logic 1, then this J0 and K0 is equal to 1 for the all different input combinations. Or if we use the K map, then in the K map, we can make the group of 8 ones. That means here, irrespective of the input combination, both J0 and K0 remains 1. So we can say that here both J0 and K0 is equal to 1. So in this way, we got the minimal expression for the each flip-flop. So now based on these expressions, we can draw the logic circuit. So here for the first flip-flop or for the flip-flop at the LSB position, both J0 and K0 are connected to the logic 1. Likewise here, J1 and K1 is equal to Q0. That means here the Q0 output is directly connected to the J1 and K1 input. And similarly, the expression for the J2 and K2 is equal to Q1, Q0. That means here both Q1 and Q0 outputs are connected to the AND gate, and the output of the AND gate is given to the J2 and K2 inputs of the last flip-flop. So in this way, we can design the synchronous 3 BIT up counter. Now, if the synchronous counter is the binary counter, then just by looking at the counting sequence also, we can design the counter first. Let's look at the components used in this circuit. We are using 3 JK flip-flops and 1 AND gate. This is a 3-bit synchronous counter. In synchronous counter, all the flip-flops receive the same clock signal at the same time. Because this, all outputs change together on the positive edge of the clock. All the JK flip-flops are connected in toggle mode, so the outputs keep changing in binary sequence with every positive edge of the clock signal. The AND gate is used to reset the counter value back to 000. The outputs of the flip-flops are connected to the inputs of the AND gate. When the required output combination becomes high, the AND gate output also becomes high. This signal is connected to the reset input of the flip-flops. Because of this, all flip-flops immediately reset and the counter value returns back to 000. This allows the counter to continuously repeat the counting sequence again and again. Now, look at the waveforms in the simulation. The first waveform is the clock signal. The second waveform is Q0. The third waveform is Q1. And the last waveform is Q2. You can clearly see that at every positive edge of the clock, the output values change as shown in the waveform. The outputs count in binary sequence and then reset back to 000 when the AND gate becomes active. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more electronics explanation videos.